You know, sometimes you can't help but just to laugh at a situation, especially when it comes to reading the room. There are individuals and there are often companies that read the room completely wrong. What people are wanting, what people are expecting, isn't necessarily what they end up getting. And I think that is a bit of a case with today's announcement from Nintendo because, yes, folks, there is a presentation happening. People got very excited, and then they quickly kind of turned on it. And I kind of want to talk about this, talk about why people are upset, and of course, talk about what the announcement is and what my thoughts are on it. So, first time on the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. But let's just hop straight into this, folks. Join us tomorrow, March 3rd at 6 a.m. Pacific Time, 9 a.m. Eastern, for a new Indie World showcase. Tune in for roughly 15 minutes of news and updates on indie games coming to Nintendo Switch 2 and Nintendo Switch Watch here. So we have an Indie World happening. Indie Worlds are not inherently a bad thing. You know, I've liked some of the stuff that's been at Indie World showcases, but I do feel like the timing of this is very interesting to a lot of people. You know, there's been lots of discussion recently about the Nintendo Switch 2, what Nintendo's plans are with it. We know some things, but there's lots of release dates for games and stuff like that. We'll talk a little bit more about that as the video goes along. But I have problems right off the jump with this. Like, first and foremost, 15 minutes. Like 15 minutes. What's the point? You know, I guess you could have a bunch of stuff in 15 minutes if all the trailers are really short, but like, I don't know, maybe a little bit longer, you know, maybe try to do more of a half hour unless there's just not games coming to the Switch 2. And like, the bigger problem to me is I don't want to see Switch 1 games ever again. Like, thank you for your service. Appreciate it. You know, you did a fine job sticking around too long, but, you know, focus should be all on the Switch 2. Like, yeah, sure, some of these games could come to the Switch 1, but if there are games that are coming just to the Switch 1 as the primary system, it's kind of like, why are we still talking about this stuff? Like, it's time to move on. Like, I get it. There's a big install base and stuff like that, but you're trying to get people over to the new system. So as you go along here, you know, there's anything but a general direct. Of course, you have the people that will defend it and stuff like that. You know, oh, well, maybe there's a general direct next week for Mario Day, Mar 10 Day. I'm sure Nash Weedle is licking his chops at that. People trying to figure out what is an indie. I mean, you know, if you have something like Expedition 33 at an Indie World event, then kudos to you. Like, you have gone above and beyond what people are expecting. Technically, Expedition 33 is an independent game. But the problem is when you look at these games that Nintendo usually shows at these events, it's like, here's a crafting game from Peru about a family that, you know, had a hardship one time and they came together with crafting. Like, they're not sending their best and brightest, or maybe I should say, because I'm not saying that those games are necessarily bad, they're not sending the mass appeal games. There are indie games that have mass appeal. Your Hollow Knights, Deltarunes for, you know, whatever reason, Expedition 33, the indie waters have been definitely murkied up, but it seems like Nintendo likes to focus more so on the smaller stuff. But you could scroll down here and see different reactions and I don't know, all sorts of stuff that people are hoping for. People are excited. People are annoyed. I think there's more people annoyed than are excited with it. And it goes back to reading the room, because there is a little bit of a discussion around the Switch 2. I mean, we talked about it last week. Where are the games for my $500 system from Nintendo? You usually don't buy a system just to play third-party games when it's a Nintendo system. More often than not, you're not really playing many third-party games on your Nintendo system, especially in the last generation that we had. It was more so focused on the first-party games, where are the larger experiences. But I do go back to things that I have said before, because people think that this is like a telltale sign that there's going to be a direct very soon. But we know about 3 games that don't have release dates that are first-party games that could be given a release date via a Nintendo Today announcement or a Twitter drop or something like that. You have the Yoshi game, which I have no interest in. You have, of course, the Fire Emblem game, Fortune's Weave, which looks really good. And then you also have Splatoon Raiders, which was thought to be 2025, but just has completely fallen off the face of the earth or something like that. You could do a show, an individual show for any one of those games, you know, a 10-minute presentation outside of a direct, and then give the release date in there, or give the release date via a press release or something like that. Like, there's a lot of people that are expecting a general Nintendo Direct this month, and I get it, because it is like, well, where are the games? You know, where is the justification for this $500 system that I got? We need something larger. We need something more substantial and stuff like that. But it definitely feels like this generation, with the Switch 2 generation, that things are going to be slower. Development times are going to be longer. They're going to hopefully be pushing the system in ways that, you know, people haven't thought about. Maybe new IPs and stuff like that. But I just feel like people have very rose-tinted glasses with the Switch 1 stuff, because initially it was very dry, and Nintendo had to have all of these games right at the launch of the system to sort of sustain the system, to make it attractive, to make it, you know, something that people actually wanted to buy off of the Wii U. Whereas with the Switch 2, they kind of more so have a luxury of third-party companies being able to pick up any slack that they are having because of longer development times and this, that, and the other. I mean, to be fair, this pains me to say it, but to be fair, Pokopia, for some ungodly fucking reason, is sitting at like an 89 on Metacritic. And although it has, I am not playing the game. I refuse. I rebuke it in the name of Jesus. Obviously, there's something to this game that people are going to want to play. All because the stuff that has been announced isn't necessarily, you know, for you. I'm not saying you don't need to be upset about it. I'm not saying you don't need to be concerned about it, but you do have to look at the larger picture. Pokopia is going to sell like crack in the 80s. It's Pokemon. It's reviewing well. It's Animal Crossing-ish, Dragon Quest Builders-ish. People like that stuff. There are games. They're just, you know, maybe they're a bit more niche franchises. And I get it. You know, it's kind of annoying. Sometimes you got to look at third-party stuff. So I don't know. I am not awake. If I happen to be awake at 9 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow, I will check out the indie world. Maybe there'll be, you know, something cool there. I do kind of feel bad. I don't know. I think the average person doesn't really care all that much. They'll just look at the games and maybe be interested in them, maybe not. But I do feel like maybe some of these games will get scrutinized a little bit harder because, you know, kind of the high guard effect, where it's something that people have wanted and they were expecting one thing and then to get another thing. At least this isn't a big surprise. You know, they did tell you what to expect here. Expectations can be kind of high for these things, but I don't know. Maybe it leads to a Nintendo Direct. Like, it doesn't matter because a lot of these Nintendo YouTube channels are going to talk about Nintendo Directs every day, just like they did for February. But maybe it leads to something and then everyone can shut up. Maybe. But then who's to say that the Nintendo Direct is going to satiate your appetite? Satiate your appetite? Fill your appetite. I shouldn't use big words. that I don't know how to say, but I do it anyways because I don't care. Anyways, let me know what you think of this in the comments section down below. What games are you hoping are at the Indie World Showcase tomorrow from Nintendo at 9 a.m. Eastern Time in 15 action-packed minutes? Bro, you better be rifling through these games. You better be going at a blistering pace. 1 minute max. You can get 15 games out of it. There you go. I don't get the 15. I don't get the 15 minutes. If you only have 15 minutes of games coming to your system, just wait. Wait till there's more. You're also harnessing the power of the Switch 1 in this too. Okay. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments section down below. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, comment, and share. Hit the bell as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.